You know the feeling. It usually hits at night or right when you wake up. It's a physical weight, not just a mental one. A sensation of being drained. You look at your phone screen, close one tab, open another, searching for something you can't even name. You know you should be working on your project, studying, or even going out with someone real, but you can't move. It's as if you've become a spectator of your own life, watching the days pass through a foggy glass. And then comes the worst part, the guilt. A voice in your head says, "You are weak, you are lazy, you are hopeless." But I need you to listen to this right now. That voice is wrong. What you are feeling is not a character flaw. It's not a lack of shame. What is happening to you has a biological name. Neuroscience calls this supernormal hyperstimulation. Basically, your motivation system isn't broken, it's been hijacked. Think about it. For thousands of years, the human brain evolved to pursue difficult rewards: hunting, building shelter, winning a partner. Dopamine was the fuel for effort. Today, we live in an environment that biologist Nicholas Tinbergen called supernormal stimuli. Whether through infinite short videos or, more specifically, high-speed adult content, you have access to dopamine levels that no ancestor of yours ever dreamed of. Studies show that excessive consumption of these digital stimuli can mimic the same neural pathways as hard chemical substances. You aren't just watching a video, you are flooding your limbic system with a chemical deluge it wasn't designed to withstand. The result? Your brain pulls the handbrake to protect itself. The apathy you feel isn't you giving up on life, it's your biology trying to survive the excess. But the good news is, if your brain learned this path, it can unlearn it. Let's understand exactly what's happening inside, and more importantly, how to take back control. Let's start with the symptom you might feel but can't describe. Have you noticed that normal things like reading a book, talking to your family at dinner, or simply walking without headphones seem unbearably boring now, like life is in black and white? This isn't because the world got boring. It's because your internal thermostat broke. In neuroscience, we call this downregulation of D2 receptors. Imagine your brain is a quiet room and music is dopamine. Normal life plays a soft, pleasant tune, but when you consume high-speed pornography or scroll through TikTok for hours, it's like blasting giant speakers at maximum volume inside that room. What does your brain do to avoid going deaf? It plugs its ears. It reduces the number of dopamine receptors. It lowers sensitivity. So when you turn off the screen and go back to real life, the soft music of reality isn't enough for you to hear anymore. You feel apathetic, numb, dull. It's not that you don't like living anymore. It's that you've become biologically deaf to subtle pleasures. This leads us to the second point, the zombie sensation. You know that moment when you know you have to sleep, you know you shouldn't click that video, but your hand seems to have a mind of its own? You call yourself weak, right? You say, "I have no willpower." Let me relieve you of that weight right now. You are suffering from temporary hypofrontality. Your brain has two captains, the prefrontal cortex here in the forehead, which is the rational CEO thinking about the future, and the limbic system deep inside, which is instinctual and only wants pleasure now. In a healthy brain, they talk. The CEO says, "No, not now," and the instinct obeys. But during constant hyperstimulation, blood flow leaves the prefrontal cortex. The connection is cut. The CEO is gagged and locked in the closet, and the animal takes control. So understand, in that moment of relapse, you weren't choosing rationally. You were operating without your biological brakes. Guilt doesn't help fix the brakes. Understanding the trigger does. Now we need to talk about energy, that so-called virility or the will to conquer the world. Why do you feel physically exhausted, drained after a session of hyperstimulation, even if you just sat there the whole time? Here comes a hormone few talk about in this context: prolactin. Biologically, after a massive spike of sexual or visual dopamine, the body releases prolactin to induce satiety. It is nature's mechanism to say, "You got what you wanted, now rest." Prolactin is essentially a natural sedative. It momentarily lowers testosterone and induces passivity. The problem? Your brain thinks you achieved something grand, reproduction, novelty, but in reality, you are alone in a dark room. You hacked the reward system without doing the work. The result is a young man full of potential but chemically sedative, without the biological drive to go out, compete, work, and build. You feel like a spectator because chemically, your brain thinks the hunt is already over. If you've made it this far, you might be thinking, okay, I ruined my brain. It's over for me. Absolutely not. The best thing about the nervous system is neuroplasticity. Just as your brain did the downregulation, lowered sensitivity to protect itself from the noise, it will do the upregulation, increase sensitivity if you remove the noise. Your brain wants to return to balance, homeostasis. If you remove the supernormal stimuli, if you embrace boredom for a few days or weeks, the receptors grow back. Suddenly, the soft music of life becomes audible again. Reading becomes interesting again. The sunset gets its color back. The motivation to hunt in the real world returns because your brain realizes the cheap dopamine is gone. The cure isn't magic. The cure is silence. I know all of this sounds logical, but in practice, when night falls and boredom hits, the battle is lonely. Hyperstimulation thrives in the dark. It thrives when you feel shame and hide it from everyone. That's why I want this video to be different. I don't want you leaving here feeling guilty about the time you lost. The past is a sunk cost. Your brain, fortunately, lives in the present and changes in the present. I want to create a safe space here in the comments. If you identified with this feeling of being drained, of being a spectator of your own life, I invite you to leave a comment below. It doesn't need to be a long text. It can just be, "I am taking back control today," or "No more being a spectator." By writing this, you turn a secret thought into a real commitment. You prove to your brain that you exist in the real world. Read the other comments. Realize that you are not the only one going through this. That is the lie the addiction tells you to keep you isolated. We are an entire generation fighting to recover our biology. If you want to understand more about how your mind works and how to use neuroscience to your advantage, consider subscribing, not for the number, but so you don't forget that there is a way back. Remember, you are not your addiction. You are the observer who can change the mechanism. Take a deep breath. Real life is waiting for you. I'll see you in the next one.